everyone, welcome to today's video. So today I figured I was going to try to make a Magnolia rose soap. So this is what I'm doing. I found a beautiful paper that has two different colors of blue, like this one. And I figured, why not, because it's got blue roses on there, why not make something that's going to be a little bit different than what I normally do, but still produce colors that's going to work well with a soap. So here we are today. So I've got my solid coconut oil here, I've got my lye, I've got my water, and I've got my milk. This is farm fresh goat's milk, by the way. I had a friend of mine bring that over. I'm really super excited to have it. So what I've done, water is used to melt our lye, and I split my water weight up into two different containers. That way I don't have to ice my milk. I can actually just put it directly into my soap, which I'll be doing here, without my milk scorching, burning, turning brown, or curdling. Now you don't want to have curdled milk in your soap. That's just gross. So we're not going to do that today. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Pour my water into my container here. I'm going to set my water jar aside. I'm going to go ahead and very, very carefully pour my lye into my water, never the other way around, because that will make your lye water solution explode, and you don't want to have exploding lye, guys. Lye burns absolutely suck. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to let this sit and cool off and get a little bit clear. Make sure you are in a well-ventilated area, safety gear, please, at all times. And do not use anything that's got aluminum in it, because lye will vaporize aluminum, and that's just not good. So you don't want to have anything that does that. So going to make sure that all of my lye is completely dissolved, and then we will go from there in just a little bit. My lye water has now cleared up. I can see right down to the bottom of that. It's still really, really toasty, but we are going to go ahead and do a heat transfer method. So what I'm going to do is pour my very hot lye water over my solid oils. And be careful not to splash. You can pour it over a spoon or a spatula, like you see me doing right here. And that does help prevent splashing. And then all of that solid coconut oil is going to start melting from the lye. I like using this method because then I don't have to heat my oils, mix my lye water, and then wait for them both to cool off to be the same temperature. So I really do like using this method because it goes a little bit quicker for me, and it kind of cools off the lye a little bit, I think, anyway. Might not actually be true, but it works, at least for me. I think it does. It's my story. I can make up however I want to. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. It's almost completely melted. Just got a little bit left to go. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Alright, I'm fairly happy with this. I'm going to go ahead and add my milk to my batch. And this method works fabulously because, again, I don't burn or curdle my milk. Everything just dissolves nicely. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and add my fragrance oils. Just kind of add them both in there. Not let things roll around on me and escape, so we don't want to have things escape. This is soap. You can't have things escaping in soap. Gonna go ahead and mix that in. I like mixing by hand, that way I don't over trace my soap, because this is a hard oil, so it solidifies very, very quickly. And we want to mix this to a very light trace or basically to emulsion, where everything is mixed together. I'm just going to burp my blender, make sure all the air bubbles are out of it. Give it a quick burst and a stir. Because as this sits and the more I blend it with my stick blender, then the more it solidifies and the faster it goes. And I don't want to have it get too hard too fast, or I won't get my color blends that I'm looking for. So this is very, very light. I'm happy with that color, or the way its consistency anyway. I'm going to pour a small batch of it into my other container here, and I do want to have my base color be a light blue. So this is going to be my base color. I start with my lighter colors. That way I can just go ahead and take my spatula and then go directly right into my darker color. And I've mixed my mica with olive oil, and that really does help make it kind of pour in there a little bit more smooth. Sorry guys, I hope you can see that. Gonna make that just a little bit darker. There we go. I think I am going to let this sit a little bit longer so it gets a little bit more solid. Thing is, if you mix them when they're too light of an emulsion, then your colors get muddy and you don't end out with these beautiful swirls that I'm hoping to achieve. So I'm just going to let this sit for a very, very short period of time, and then we'll do an in the pot swirl. Okay, so I've got my two colors. They've thickened up a bit. I'm just going to take my dark blue and pour it into my light blue. Start really, really high, and then drop it really slow, really low as well, and hopefully that will produce those color swirls that we are looking for. I'm just going to go ahead and very, very gently start pouring it into my molds. And I don't know if this will produce the color swirling that I'm hoping to get, because this is still a little bit too thin maybe. One thing that's really nice about pouring your hard coconut oils in your molds is that they tend to have a little bit smoother backs to them. Oh, this is really starting to thicken up again. So I'm having to pour this a little bit quicker. I don't know if you can tell the difference in how it's looking in the pour. But there we go. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the backs just a little bit because some of these I overfilled. And then we'll be back in a few hours for the unmolding. Okay guys, so I accidentally did a thing and I left my soap in my molds for a couple days. So I'm really super glad that I decided to use individual soap molds, so that way I still have a soap bar instead of a big old soap brick. So it's definitely time to get these little buddies out of there. And I have got a little bit of some speckling right there. So that is probably happened because I didn't mix my mica well enough with my olive oil. So I've got some mica spots, which is kind of pretty actually. It's like sprinkles. Oh my goodness. I swear, guys. I'm a goof. If it doesn't show, I don't know what does. Okay, so this one's got a little bit of some rough edges to it. So I've got my knife handy. I'm just gonna kind of clean up those areas where I overfilled the mold and spilled. And one of the things that does happen, because this is a hard oil to make soap with, coconut oil solidifies very, very, very quickly. And if you don't cut it in time, like I mentioned earlier, for making soap bars, then your soap can crumble. And me just cleaning up these edges, it's trying to chip and break off and fray up a bit. So I don't know if you can tell that very well, but even on these very, very thin areas there, it still likes to do that because coconut oil is so solid once it becomes a soap. And these have turned out just lovely. I'm really happy with the color. I do have only a little bit of light swirling to it. It's not quite as noticeable or pronounced as I would have hoped for, but I'm still pleased with how these look. Just a really nice color. Well, if you guys are actually interested in purchasing any of my soaps, you can go to my Facebook page, Basic Homesteading and Survival, and purchase these for yourself. I do ship within the lower 48, so you can absolutely order them and I'll ship them out to you. So if you like this video, you can come back for more tips and tricks later on. But for now, you guys take care, be safe, be happy, be well, wash your hands, wash your hands lots, especially what's going on now. So you guys take care, and I'll see you in other videos later on. Bye now.